I apologize about yelling. I don't want to blow anyone's eardrums out with this microphone. But we're going to start the meeting. I'm going to start this off by just giving a little bit of background and introduction on how we all got here. Obviously, everyone's aware the city is following up on a Budlong Pool project to renovate the facility. Part of that project includes a $750,000 grant from US HUD. As a part of that grant, we have to do an environmental review of the site, and that environmental review came up as the site is recognized as historic. We have then reached out to the state. The state has said that this site is eligible to be on a national register. Then we have reached out to ACHP, that's a federal agency, that has triggered a process that involves public involvement. And the public involvement is to come up with suggestions on how we are going to preserve the historical nature of the Budlong Pool facility. In that process, the city has worked with the state to identify 4 items that we're going to use to preserve the historical nature of the site. And the purpose of this meeting is to get suggestions from the public to add to those 4 things. Those 4 things are preserving the facade of the Budlong Pool house. We are also going to be installing granite bounds at the 4 corners of the existing pool to demonstrate the size that it once was. There's going to be educational blocks at the site that will memorialize what used to be there, how it was built, the historical nature of it. And that's right, correct. The lettering on the building saying Budlong Pool will be the font of when the building was created. I'm going to call for public comment in 1 second.
I just feel like before you do that, as a consultant authority, there's something that I need to say, which is basically that what you're presenting is assuming that the Historic Commission is going to approve demolishing the building and demolishing the pool and replacing that. And you're not going to be fulfilling your responsibility to get public input if you take off the table things that have to do with the preservation of the pool that are not yet resolved. So I want to state that objection, and that people who want to address the options for...
You couldn't hear her.
Can you hear my microphone?
Yeah, just step up to the microphone. That's on, yes.
Okay.
Is it on? No.
No. There we go. That's on.
Okay, so what I wanted to
Can
say...
I just have you say your name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Karen Rosenberg. I live at 46 Bow Street, and I'm also the chair of Cranston Forward, which has been designated by the city as a consulting party in this process, which gives us the ability to participate in the discussion and decision about what happens with this historic preservation project. And what I wanted to just say before you open it up to public comment is that you're telling people that they're restricted to talking about essentially how to memorialize or demark the fact that there was a historic pool here after you've destroyed it and replaced it. And that's misleading. And people need to understand that it is not a foregone conclusion that that's what the city, with the State Commission for Historic Preservation and the U.S. Advisory Council on Historic Preservation are going to approve. And that question is very much still open right now. So if the city, if I can just finish.
No, respectfully, let us stop the meeting. Everyone's going to have a chance to comment, okay? Including yourself.
But they need to know the scope of what they can
Ms.
comment.
Rosenberg, we'll address that, okay? It's being advertised.
But
so
what
the
was
public-
said was
excuse
not
me, sir.
accurate.
Excuse me.
But what was
This
said was
is
not accurate.
this is a public meeting. It's being run properly. The agenda has been posted. Everybody, including yourself, including Ms. Rosenberg, that's not going to count towards our 4 minutes. Everyone is going to have a chance to comment. This is not going to be a question and answer session. Okay?
Well, the
It's
city-
for public,
the city
excuse
can-
me, Ms.
the city
Rosenberg,
can do what it
Ms.
chooses
Rosenberg,
to do.
respectfully,
But it's
respectfully,
gotta
Ms.
follow the
Rosenberg,
process.
Ms. Rosenberg, respectfully, okay? We are running the meeting, not Ms. Rosenberg. We posted an agenda, we will follow the agenda according to law, okay? Please have a seat, we'll begin the meeting, and you'll have your time.
My objection
Thank
is
you so
noted.
much. Thank you. Excuse me, let us start the meeting, please. You will all have, okay, my name is Chris Millay, I'm the solicitor for the city of Cranston, okay? And we are going to follow the rules as they see fit, okay?
That's fine.
That's all.
Nice to know
That's
that
all.
they're listening.
Please begin, Justin. Justin, go right ahead. Finish what you were saying.
What do you identify?
My name is Justin Matus. I'm the city engineer and the acting public works director. That's my title.
And the person next to you?
Mark Sakosha, Sakosha Associates Architects, we're the architects.
Oh, I really want to start this by saying that, you know, this can be a really productive meeting and we can make some meaningful changes here if we want to proceed properly. This is an opportunity for the public to give your input to the city to make meaningful changes to a site. That's pretty big to me in my mind. It's a good opportunity for everyone. Again, like Chris mentioned, I'll tee up how we got here like I just did. A few people just walked in, and then I'm going to open it up to the public. Everyone, one at a time, can come up to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record and give your suggestion. I am here writing down everyone's suggestion. That will then be forwarded to the state. I will. Do you have anything further?
No.
Anything further? No. All right. And if anyone wants to start, I'll open it up to public comment. Please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
I would ask, before we begin, if you do plan on...
Can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep my voice up there. I would request, if everyone who does intend on speaking, please sign up at the list so we have your name and your address. That's all. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure our microphone's working.
It's not very loud. It's not very
It
loud.
was before, it's not very loud, unfortunately, but I thought it was working, but
Can you lift it out and hold it close to your mouth, maybe?
you can remove it. Yeah, you can remove it, it'll work.
Hello, testing.
Oh, yeah.
You just gotta get a little closer.
Put away from it when you're talking.
Shorter than that.
It's a little
Well,
closer.
it's flexible, they have displayed. I
Thank
hope that's helpful.
So I want to preface my remarks by just making clear that the Historical Society, the Historical Commission is revisiting its assessment of whether or not this pool could feasibly be rehabilitated rather than destroyed, and they will make, you know, the ultimate decision about what they think should happen. So if anybody wants to speak to that, you should. Put your comments on the record. And I've sent a letter to Mayor Hopkins. We'll have it posted on our website that explains all the problems with the way that this process has been carried out, because it hasn't been done in the appropriate manner. So as I said, my name is Karen Rosenberg, and I'm here. My name is Karen Rosenberg, and I'm here because I have owned a home, paid taxes, and voted in Cranston for 25 years. And I am the current chair of Cranston Forward, a group originally started under a different name in 2017 out of a belief by a bunch of Cranston residents that we would have a stronger community if local residents joined together to keep track of what was going on in our city, talk to one another about what is important to us and what kind of city we want for ourselves, and work together to make our city government responsive to the needs and priorities of the people who vote and pay taxes here and live here. I want to use my time to do what it is our mission to do, to share critical information about what's been going on with the pool, what this meeting is about, what we can do to make the city be responsive to the needs and priorities of the people who live, vote, and pay taxes here. Last year, it emerged that Cranston's government had plans to destroy the beautiful pool that Cranston was given during the Great Depression, when the federal government used public infrastructure projects to put people to work, uplift struggling Americans, provide the country with electrification, dams, bridges, and places of culture and recreation. For nearly a century, the Budlong Pool has stood as a living symbol of the magnificent works that America make and of the value we place on our communities, on having safe, fun places for our youth to socialize, exercise, get a vocational skill in a summer job, and learn the life-saving skill of swimming, on a summer activity for our campers, on a place for families and for people of all abilities to get outdoors, have fun together, and cool off after a hard day of work or get gentle exercise or a rigorous workout. Budlong is a monument to all of this, and it is worth preserving. When we heard about the city's plans for Budlong, we put the word out, and the reaction that came back was people do not want a smaller pool. They like the pool we have. Preserving the pool matters to them. I was initially confident that once people started raising their voices, the city would have to listen, but it didn't. And because there was no transparency about what was going on, we started gathering facts and have done our best to keep the public informed of what we have found. I want to be sure that everyone is clear about why this meeting is happening. The current administration has wanted since 2021 to replace Budlong with their vision of a modern recreation area, which includes a much smaller pool, mostly shallow, surrounded by grass, picnic tables, and a splash pad, which is basically a play area with water features for kids. In 2023, when the administration came out publicly with this plan, which had been developed over the preceding 2 years with no public input, they were already so invested in it that they were not willing to alter their course in response to public demand. It then emerged that the city, which got a federal grant of $750,000 for this project, has to fulfill.
Excuse me, Karen. It's very difficult to hear you. What you're saying
Hold on.
is really
The
important.
mic is not very loud.
100%.
Hold on one second.
I can't hear you clearly.
Can we get
Let's see if we can.
Yeah, take it right off.
Turn the speaker up?
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. See if that can put.
Feels intentional.
I'm walking. There we go.
Okay, this is as loud as it gets, so I'll do my best.
Ms. Rosemary, give 1 second, please. Everybody, if I get, it's obviously acoustics are not great in here.
Right.
If I could just ask everyone to kind of keep their voices down while people are speaking, it'd be greatly appreciated. In respect to Ms. Rosenberg and everyone else, I would indicate Ms. Rosenberg, maybe about 30 more seconds, you're at 4 minutes. Okay,
I
thank
had
you.
4 minutes?
You have 4 minutes, everyone has 4 minutes.
Oh, right, I thought you said it was at 4 minutes. So it has since emerged, the city now has to do this historic review and fulfill certain conditions. It has to work with the agencies that were mentioned to ensure that our cultural heritage is not wantonly destroyed and that the public has a say, which the city has to respond to before the site is harmed. This process requires that the public be given meaningful input, which means the public is entitled to meaningful notice and an opportunity to be heard, and the public's input is informed by first giving it all the relevant information about the city, how the city's plans will affect the site, and about the alternatives for avoiding or minimizing harm to the site.
Ms. Rosenberg, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut you off.
Excuse me?
Well, excuse me, sir.
Yep, excuse me, my name is Tom Wojcik,
Okay.
and I'm giving her my 4 minutes.
If that's okay, then that's fine. That's fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The city is also, required to consult with any parties who request to be part of the process and who have a demonstrated stake in what happens. Because Cranston Forward has exhaustively investigated the situation with the pool and has endeavored to share everything we have learned with the public and to amplify the concerns that Cranston residents have shared with us, we've been legally designated as a consultant party, and that gives us a right to participate in this process, to be consulted in the agreement, in the resolution of the process. And we haven't consulted at all with the city yet. They haven't included us in anything, including the planning of this meeting. I am here to tell you that the city has not shared all of the relevant information with you. Most importantly, it is not shared because it does not know if the existing pool even needs to be replaced and whether and at what price it can be preserved as it is. Please note that the Historic Commission made an initial finding that the existing pool was broken and not fixable at a reasonable cost based on information from interested parties already working under a $350,000 contract to design a new pool. The commission subsequently became informed about how defective and questionable the information that had been given really was. The commission then asked the city to respond to a number of very specific questions, and the city's responses made it clear that the city does not have a good faith, independent, expert
Would you give her the
assessment
same courtesy that you've asked for?
Thank you, Ms. Petrone, I appreciate that.
expert assessment of the condition of the pool or the cost or feasibility of preserving it. The Historic Commission and Advisory Council are right now re-examining their initial conclusions, and on the basis of this information, this new information, and as a consultant party, Cranston Ford is advocating that the city not be permitted to proceed with destroying and replacing the pool until it has gotten a valid assessment so that decision makers and the public can make an informed decision about what is possible and what is best for the pool and for our city. This could have and should have been done 3 years ago. It can still be done now before irrevocable damage is done to the existing historic site. Please also know that if replacing the pool is necessary, minimizing the harm to the historic site could also mean building a new pool that is faithful to the historic intentions and uses of this nearly century-old city institution. A capacious pool big enough for everyone and for all the different ways the pool is enjoyed by people with mobility impairments, small children, campers, teens, adults, and senior citizens. If that is what you, the public, prioritize, then the city must listen. And if it chooses to ignore this public input, it's going to have to explain why. So take your opportunity. Public consultation should have been the starting point, not an afterthought, not a sham, not a chore that has to be performed so a box can be checked and officials can go about implementing an agenda they developed years ago. We are very concerned that not enough voices will be included. We think there should be more meetings and more time for members of the public who didn't know about this meeting or who couldn't make it or who haven't had an opportunity to review all the documents can inform themselves and can have their say. It is not too late for the city to change the path that it is on. If it does its due diligence about the options, is truly responsive to the priorities expressed by the public, and is required to explain its policy choices, whatever happens to this pool, Cranston will be better for it.
Can everyone hear me all right? Yes. My name is Susan Blake. I live at 173 Grand Avenue. I'd like to start off by saying, how can you claim that chlorinated water leaks out at a pretty fast clip and yet the pool holds precipitation without exception? I have time-stamped photos and videos for the last 7 months that show no water loss other than evaporation. Historically speaking, let's remember that many large municipal pools in the U.S. closed in the 60s due to desegregation and the white population building pools at their country clubs and in their yards because they didn't want to swim with people of color. It was driven by racism. Yet, the Budlong Pool stayed open, served the entire community, both young and old, regardless of race, and could still serve everyone today. This new design smacks of ageism and age discrimination by the virtue of the intended primary users being under the age of 10. Excluding the 3 lap lanes in the proposed design, the maximum depth is 4 feet, just so you know. In the most recent census, the 0 to 9-year-old segment of our population only comprised 9% of all city residents. The new design does irreversible harm to the other 91% of residents who relied upon and valued this pool. No signage can remedy that intentional harm. The proposed design disproportionately restricts teens, young adults, and seniors who relied on the Budlong Pool as an oasis in the summer as a place to swim, play, meet friends, exercise, build community, and relax. There was always enough room and depth variation with the existing pool to accommodate those who sought these historically valued traditions. With ADA accessibility retrofits, the existing pool can easily accommodate everyone now. This new plan is arrogant, and it is an insult to anyone over 10 years old, in my opinion. You say that you want our city to grow, but you are only willing to offer a pool that will be 2/3 smaller and half as deep. This pool project has not been transparent nor receptive to what the residents want. The 2,000 signatures from residents opposing to downsizing the pool in reality represent 10 times that amount among organizers and their math. You want to minimize the negative historic impact on the resident? Here's a timely and environmentally and conscious way. Upcycle the existing pool. Make it ADA friendly. Get a variance for the pool house regulations, for the bathhouse regulations on the person to toilet ratio. They do exist. It's a fact that the city historically set the max capacity in the pool at 300 to 350. That's crowd control. The demand was higher than that amount that was capped, as the lines of those waiting for entrance amply proved each summer. Get an independent, unaffiliated inspection of the pool and its mechanicals, repair the pool, repurpose the pool with ADA compliant elements, add those basketball hoops, and add the sun sails for shade, and reopen the pool. Don't throw Budlong Pool away just because it's not new and shiny.
30 seconds.
Thank you. Treat it. Treat it like a cherished vintage car. Preserve what we have. Maintain one of the largest outdoor, historically significant municipal pools in the nation, and always remember that this is our pool, all 80,000 plus of us. How do you minimize the impact of any changes to this historic gem? Keep the existing pool and own it with pride. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me? Hi, my name is Susan Robinson, 96 Bryant Road. I'm here tonight to speak about the preservation of the Budlong Pool and the pool house. It has come to my attention that the pool is eligible for a $750,000 HUD grant to help with renovations, and that the Rhode Island Historic Preservation Commission has found the pool eligible for a landmark status. The Budlong Pool House is built with materials that we rarely see in civic buildings today. The building itself could be creatively adapted, keeping as much of the exterior, interior as possible. I am aware that changes need to be made to make it accessible to all, and the pool house needs to be renovated, but believe that could be accomplished without destroying many of the historic elements of the building. The large rectangular shape of the pool is much cheaper and more functional to accommodate the number of occupants using this pool. This is Cranston's only outdoor pool.
That's right.
The new architectural drawings that I have seen are not in keeping with the original intent of a large pool, but are more suited for a club instead of a municipal pool.
Yep.
In the event that the pool itself has to be replaced, it should be made ADA compliant and kept in a rectangular shape. This shape enables more children and adults to have multiple swim lessons, water exercise, and free swim. Swimming is a life-saving skill that both youth and adults need. We live in the ocean state. The Budlong Pool should be offering swimming lessons to our community. The large capacity of the pool enabled the Cranston Recreation Program to frequent the pool. Buses of children citywide and young adults benefited from swimming, getting some much needed exercising and socializing in fresh air together every summer. I am asking that any changes to the Budlong Pool and Pool House be in keeping with the WPA's original intent. They built a pool for all of us to have the opportunity to swim, cool off, socialize with others and our own community without having to drive to the beach.
Hi, I don't have anything prepared. Can you hear me?
No,
Use the
you need to hold the
microphone.
microphone.
Oh, hi. I live right across the street from the pool. It's very disheartening to look.
Name and address.
Oh, 76 Lakeland Road.
Who are you?
Lakeland. Laurie.
She's gonna say it in a second.
Well, start over real quick. Please state your name and your address for the record.
Laurie Skipsack, 76 Lakeland Road, on the corner of Aqueduct and Lakeland, right across from the pool.
Thank you, Mr.
It's extremely disheartening to see what this has looked like for so many years. It's embarrassing on how we let this go. I just want to say when we met at Cranston East, I thought we had somewhat of a compromise that could have happened. But then I heard Mayor Hopkins say in the press that it was only a minuscule of Cranston residents that care. I don't think you see that. We care. And I just want to say, on the bottom line is that we want to see something happen. It's been too many years. We want to see something happen with the basketball courts, with the pool, that we're vested into having it improved. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tamika Jefferson and I'm at 43 Lincoln Avenue. I just want to share that I just think that Cranston needs to care about the residents, the resident population, the residential transitional population in terms of families. There's not much for families to do here in Cranston. My family moved from Boston to Rhode Island 20 years ago. And for 20 years, my 3 children and I have had to go outside of Cranston to have any kind of recreational activities, any kind of pool, we went to Budlong Pool 3 to 4 times. The last time we went was when Fung was in office, Mayor Fung was in office when the pool shut down. This year I called and I asked, a couple of years ago I called and I asked, what's going on with the pool? Because the Fung administration said there was no money in the budget for 3 years, they said that, two years they said that. And then I called this new administration and asked, what's going on with the pool? There's no money in the budget. You know what they told me? To turn on the spigot in my yard. The spigot.
Oh my God.
And that is representing a large part of families that live in 3 to 4 families that don't have a spigot to keep themselves cool. So I'm just asking for Cranston to care. I'm asking for Cranston to care. We elected officials to get in the seat. And once they get in the seat, the poor people, the disenfranchised people of our communities are forgotten. We get left out in the cold. Choices are made for us, but we are not included in the conversation or get a seat at the table. I'm just asking for the elected officials to care. We put them in office If they don't care, we can take them out.
That's right, there you go.
They don't want to listen, they can leave. Anyone else that comes behind them needs to be held accountable for caring about the community. So I'm just asking for the community to care. That's all.
Thank you.
Can you know your name and address again? I'm sorry.
Tamika Jefferson, 43 Lincoln Avenue.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Alice Petrone.
You gotta speak right into it.
Really close.
Hello, there we go, okay. Loud.
My name is Alice Petrone. I live at 24 Bretton Woods Drive. And all of this process has been disturbing. The lack of transparency, the fact that we're told that there aren't monies, there have been plenty of ARPA funds that have been given to the city. They've been used for other things rather than what they were meant for. We talk about the historical aspect of the pool. I learned how to swim there. Every Saturday morning, they offered classes. My father brought me, sat underneath the awning, and waited for me. As teenagers, we went. When we participated in the playgrounds in the city, we went by bus there, at least once or twice a week. It's a beautiful pool, and what I see happening here, and I'm so glad that the Preservation Society and this has happened, because I'm also a graduate of Cranston West, and this just echoes back to what happened with the prayer on the wall.
Excuse me, Ms. Petrone, this meeting is specifically about the historical nature.
I'm making a point,
Excuse
Chris.
me, I know,
I need
Alice,
to make my
Alice,
point.
respectfully, the meeting, there's a lot of people here to speak tonight. This is not about anything
It's
in
my
Cranston
4
West.
minutes. It's my 4 minutes.
And it will be germane to the topic.
See, everybody, this is what the administration wants. They don't want you to speak. And if you disagree, they want to shut you up. This pool needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed with regard to the historical status of it. It holds water. Every time I drive to Dave's Market, the pool is full of water. It doesn't leak. So, I say, fix the pool, and let's not have another Cranston West prayer on our hands.
My name is Sam Brusco. Yes, the Sam Brusco. 11 Alhambra Circle. And my dad actually was part of the work team that built the pool. Thank you, I have nothing to do with it. Originally, I was actually against any change to the pool. But, you know, I came to realize maybe that's not the best thing for the city. I don't know. And maybe much of the pool house can't be saved. I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is that I don't have room in my yard for a pool. I don't even want a pool because then I have to keep it up and it's too expensive and I can't be bothered with that. What I see from this design is that 3 or 4 lap lanes is completely inadequate for the city. And the city already has a kiddie water park, as far as I know, near Bain. What's the point? And as for services to the population, there is not a teen who would be caught dead at this pool as it is designed. It's a kiddie water park, not a pool.
That's right. Yep.
Oh my goodness, I think I hit everything. Yeah, that was about it. All right, thank you.
My name is Ramsey Davis. I live at 58 Fortson Avenue with my wife, which is about a half a mile from the pool. We've been there since the 1980s. I am here to support the restoration of the current pool. My son and my grandson have both used it, including my wife and myself. Back in the day, I put myself through college installing in-ground commercial and residential linered pools. And I'm here to ask that you consider, I want to get this right, that you pursue a credible, independent, evidence-based assessment of the condition of the pool and the feasibility and cost of preserving it, and make that available to the general public as soon as possible. And while you're at it, please move that darn firing range away from 2 schools. There's got to be another solution somewhere in this city. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kate Culverhouse, and I live at 240 Aqueduct Lane, which is the blue house right next to the pool area. And we're new Cranstonians, I guess that's the proper word. But we moved down here because our son was getting married, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be grandparents. But we're so excited. And we look out to the pool every single day because it's right next to our house. And certainly do we love the geese that float around in there. But what we want to see is something that's going to be done immediately, you know, and then maybe it's not this year, but maybe it's next year. But I think trying to transform it into a country club it's not what we've experienced from Cranston. We are experiencing a beautiful family life and really, really nice people. And so what we want to see is, you know, when I hear the girls out there screaming, batter, 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 you're out, and everybody says to us, well, you're empty nesters. Why do you want to hear these kids screaming? I said, because it's fun. So do I want to hear kids screaming in the pool saying, jump, 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 Marco Polo, Marco Polo? Absolutely. So let's get this done. You know, instead of waiting another year for whatever, and again, like I said, we're new to this area, but we are completely enjoying it. And I think that opening this pool up in the way that it is and preserving it is going to be what is most important. Making it into a country club looking place, probably not so much, you know. I try to get people to pick up their poo from their dogs. I mean, we have a dog, so we pick up our poo. But, you know, I mean, I'm just saying that we're really enjoying living in Cranston and would love to see that pool open again, and will completely respect it. So whatever you decide is what's going to be important. But would it be better to have it be sooner rather than later? I think preserving it as it is would be the best decision. But
Is it on? Yeah. Hi, Rick Naraki, 59 Bryant Road. I've been to several of these meetings, and you know, I'm not exactly sure the extent of the problems, but I'll give it to you that there's issues there. I saw the designs of the pool, and I've been here before, and I've argued that it is deficient. It is a deficient design for the people of Cranston. There is a population that is going unserved by this pool. And it was brought up the first time when the lap lanes weren't there. And you decided to add those lap lanes. There's still deficiencies. And it doesn't seem like you want to budge on those. The pool house, if it could be preserved, I would definitely preserve that. There's stonework there that you just don't see anymore. And that is why it's, part being considered preservation. So that could be preserved, absolutely. This pool design, like I said, I don't think any of this would be going on if your pool design wasn't as deficient as it was. I don't think there'd be a crowd here. I think we'd have a pool by now. But we're here because we're telling you it's bad. Understand that. You are going to push through a bad-looking pool that doesn't service the community. And every time I come here, I see these people, and they're trying to tell you this, and you don't want to hear it. It's amazing the amount of time that has been wasted on this topic.
Amen.
And I see these people all the time. And we talk about it. And we're like, why? Now you're getting more money. Someone's actually throwing more money at you. $750,000 could be on the table. I guess that's new since the plan design.
No.
No, that was always out there.
Yeah.
And it comes with stipulations. And that wasn't investigated. That should have been boom, done. Look, well, we got to go through the Historic Preservation Society if we want to use this money. And it didn't. And here we are, another year, 4 years. This is going on 4 years now. Ridiculous. I give it that there was a COVID year, 2021, but 0 for 4. This administration, 0 for 4 on the pool. You are what your record says you are. You are not a pool administration. And we're telling you, if you want to replace it, do it right. You're not doing it right.
Do it big.
Thank you.
Kischenbaum, 15 Curtis Street. Can everyone hear me?
You gotta
A bit louder.
Right into it.
Fellow residents of Cranston, I speak before you today as a concerned citizen who deeply cares about our community and its future. For many months, we have been fighting against Mayor Hopkins' plan to destroy Budlong Pool and replace it with a much smaller one. And in that time, I have had the privilege of meeting many of you, whether through leafleting or in conversations on doorsteps. I have been struck by the shared outrage and determination to protect our pool. The most common phrase I have heard during this time is, "What a shame." The outrage is both palpable and completely justified. How can a much smaller pool meet the needs of our 80,000 residents? The answer is it can't. It can't accommodate our summer camps, the families cooling down from the heat, or the children learning to swim for the first time. The Budlong Pool is not just a recreational facility. It is a community hub, a place where memories are made and lasting friendships are formed. Its value goes far beyond its size or its appearance. It is part of our shared history, a symbol of our community spirit. Recognizing the historic value of Budlong Pool is not just about preserving the past. It's about ensuring that future generations have access to the same opportunities and experience that we have had. It is about honoring our experiences and passing on this legacy to those who will come after us. We cannot let Mayor Hopkins' short-sightedness dictate the future of our community. We cannot allow him to ignore the voices of thousands of residents who have spoken out against his plan. We must hold our elected officials accountable and demand transparency, honesty, and fiscal responsibility. This is why your presence here today is so important. By being here, you are sending a powerful message to City Hall. We won't be silenced, we won't be ignored, and we won't let our pool be destroyed without a fight. So I urge you, fellow residents, to stand with us in this fight. Speak up, speak out, and let your voices be heard. Together we can make a difference, and together we can save Budlong Pool. Thank you.
Hi, Deb Salone. Can everybody hear that?
No, not
Roll it right up.
47 Blackmore.
What was your last name?
Salone, Salone. I haven't been to all the meetings, but I know that it's been going on for 4 years, and I know when things are important in the city, that the situation is much different. We have big signs, we have video and PowerPoint presentations, and we have good acoustics, and here we have nothing. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if this is just an appeasement for all of us, or if it's something that you're really involved and committed to. When you first started the meeting, no one was introduced. And I'm sure that doesn't happen when you go with something that's much more important than the pool. But beyond that, we were told that there were 4 ideas or suggestions that were coming from the Historical Society that you were going to do. One of them was to put a nice picture of the historic pool, and also the words that say Budlong Pool, you were going to put that up. Here's a drawing. How come we're not seeing, and this was, I'm not sure when your office did this, but where's the new drawing for us with the 4 suggestions that you seem to think that are already going through? Because you said, oh, we're gonna do this, and actually someone got up and said, wait a minute, those aren't agreed upon yet. So I wanna know what the hell is really going on. I'm a taxpayer. I love the pool. I live 2 blocks from the pool. We used to have the little rings that would be put around your ankles, and if you had one, you could go in. If not, you couldn't. Cranston is supposed to be a wonderful community. Where are you?
Yeah.
We got rats, we've got a little water pool, we have nothing. If you're seriously gonna do this, please don't insult our intelligence. You're asking us to be prepared, and we have been. We've been looking at all the documents and realizing that transparency is kind of a shaky word. Depends on what side of the letters you're looking at. So please, tell us the truth, tell us now, and let's get moving.
Hello, my name is Beverly Renner Smith. I live at 100 Lexington Avenue. It's in the Eden Park section of Cranston. And I've actually lived there since I was about 14 years old. So I've been in the neighborhood for a long time. As a teenager, I swam at the Budlong Pool. I have little tags that you could get for a quarter. It was always crowded, very popular. People learned how to swim. When my children were born, well, they went there as well. So the Budlong Pool has really served the community well for many, many years. And we need the pool because for health reasons, many cities are actually want to build pools themselves, find some way to cool the citizens down during these increasingly hot summers. And yes, learning how to swim is a life-saving skill, and as somebody said, we are the ocean state. For children not to know how to swim is really a shame. It's a risk for them and for their parents, for everybody. So I believe that the pool should be rehabilitated as best as it can, because yes, it is broke and that it needs fixing, but it needs to be renovated. But it has served everybody very well in its present form. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Here we go. Good evening. Hello.
No volume control.
No? Okay. I'm pretty loud, so I can be pretty good like this. All right, excellent. Barbara Ann Fenton, 1581 Phoenix Ave, if you don't know. I just wanted to, as we're just listening to everybody tonight, I want everybody to just take a minute and respect that one of the words you keep hearing was how much fun everybody had. I think there's been 10 people who have stepped up to this mic. Is that there was so much joy when Sam talks about his father. And when we're talking about what we can do to honor the Budlong Pool, in whatever form this goes and takes, is not only just honoring the historic nostalgia of it, but honoring the people like Sam's father. This is a WPA project, okay? The nitty, the gritty. Somebody said, this isn't gonna be a country club. That's not the people of Cranston, not that these are the people we serve. And I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think we need to find a way to perhaps work with the Arts Commission and say, what can we do from a sculpture, from a painting perspective? So it's not just a photo. It's a tribute in arts form, in visual form, to making sure we capture the joy that this pool has served for years, that has taught kids how to swim, that when there was the slide, when my husband used to cannonball into the pool and ruin a suit every single year. You know, this was the fun part of Cranston. And we can bring that back again. I am against, I've said this and we're not going to get into it tonight, there will be no cannonballing in this pool, okay? No. It's just quite simply, it's not deep enough.
Right.
But we still have to try to find a way to bring joy and fun, not just for the kids now, but for the kids 10, 20 years. The decisions made tonight, this month, this year, are going to affect a whole different generation of Cranstonians, and we should get it right, not just get it done quickly. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Raquel Loomis, and I live at 44 Ingerville Road, and this is my daughter. Hello. I'm Avery. And she's actually 10 years old, and we drive by the pool every single day on the way to school, and we discuss why the pool is not open and why she cannot enjoy the pool. And I also teach my children to speak up and that their opinions matter. So I showed her the flyer that's been coming around our neighborhood. We've been talking about it, and she remembers when she was little going to the pool, and she's here to share her experiences and ask why it's not open.
So there's a bunch of things about the pool that I really enjoyed when I was younger, and I had a lot of friends there, but ever since the pool had closed, it's been a while since it's open, and what I've noticed is every time I go down to that area, I've seen there has been no signs of leakage. I see the pool has still been full every time, but it has been really dirty, and I was wondering why can't it just be clean, like really clean, and then reopen instead of adding splash pads and all of that, and just keeping the pool open and just cleaning it, giving it a deep clean, a deep scrub, and so that way kids and everyone can enjoy going back to the pool again.
My name is Heidi Levine, 22 West Hill Drive. So I've been a resident in Cranston for a little over a year now, and I have a couple of observations. First and foremost is the lack of free third spaces for people to just hang out and recreate. There aren't many. Like we have Garden City, fabulous. But you have to pay. You gotta pay for food, you gotta pay to go shopping, you gotta pay. It would be really nice to have a place for all of our community members, old and young, to be able to participate, get to know each other, and build community, because that is one of the first things I've noticed since moving here is people don't know each other. Most of my neighbors don't know each other. It's really disappointing because it's just a missed opportunity. And now that I'm learning at this meeting that there is all these historical funds available for a building that's almost 100 years old. Why are we not taking advantage of every penny that's being offered to us? There are not many buildings that old. Why wouldn't we preserve it if that is an option? That just seems like a wasted opportunity. Furthermore, drowning is actually a leading cause of death of children. I don't know if many people know that. And we live in the Ocean State, so it's pretty disappointing that we wouldn't have a free, affordable place for teaching our children how to swim. I don't know if anyone has looked at swim lessons lately, but they're rather expensive. I have a 19-month-old, and we've paid for them a few times, and they are not very cheap. So having a good place for our 80,000 residents to be able to commune, get to know each other, soak in the sun, cool down. As we all know, climate change is coming to us, and it is certain Cranston, Rhode Island is not immune to the effects. It's extremely hot, there's a heat island effect, we need more trees, but we definitely need a place for people to cool down and just get to know each other. So people care about each other and care about the city. I just think it would be a wasted opportunity to tear it down, make it this tiny little pool and a splash pad when we already have one. So that's all I have to say on that.
My name is Duane Clinker. I live at 23 Davis Avenue, Cranston. I'm not sure I can articulate this. I'll just be a minute. But listening to others here and myself, we smell something here. And we hear something here, and we don't hear things here. And it's been repeated again and again and again. And there's something going on we can't quite get our finger on. Because on one hand, the people that have lived here and experienced the pool pretty much have a general idea of what should happen. And on the other hand, we get this constant drumbeat of what looks cool, of what is current in our culture and stuff. Well, we have another culture here. You know, it's not for nothing that this pool was built almost, it seems like it's a template for the WPA.
Yeah.
This actually does have some history here. And most of the Olympic-sized swimming pools that used to dot the cities, the urban areas, have closed. So I can see a day when people actually come here to see the pool and also to swim in it. So we can't quite put a handle on this, but we have this hunger, and you know, when times get dark and when we enter into new times that we can't quite sort out yet, we don't have names for things. And it feels like we're hungry for something. When people talk about the old days and the swimming and doing something together for almost no money and meeting new people and also the history of discrimination and so forth, that these pools also were part of the struggle. It's like we're hungry for community. And it's like we need a place with very little, we can go for cheap and have fun and teach, because if we can swim together, maybe we can live together.
Yes. Oh, man.
Good evening. Steve Saragosa, 1331 Oak Road, Cranston. I'm here as a taxpayer of Cranston, but I also chair the Cranston Historic Commission. Cranston. Sorry. I have questions more than statements. First question is, why did you go to the Rhode Island Historic Preservation Society and just skip past the Cranston Historic Society? And the other question is, how many pools has Sakosha designed? And Weston Sampson is their expertise in this particular type of project. I know you're not going to answer any questions, but I am going to pursue these few questions that I have. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Diane Loomis. I live at 183 Park Avenue. And I've lived in Cranston since 1986. And my daughter grew up going to Budlong Pool and looks forward to it every day. So I work full-time, so she would race to the pool in the afternoon so she could get a swim in before it closed for the evening every place. But she also She pursued becoming a lifeguard, hoping to get a job there this summer. So, but Cranston needs a pool. It's like they need the existing Budlong Pool with the shallow to the deep end. Teenagers need a pool that they can do cannonballs in. It's like a splash pad for little kids that are gonna outgrow Budlong Pool, and 3 lanes to service your elderly who like to swim laps is not enough. It's like you're building a segregated pool where you're gonna have little kids over here, and put your teenagers over here, put your elderly over here. We don't want that. We want Budlong Pool the way it is. So families can have this time together. So do your study, find out what's wrong, use your historical money and the grants, and give us our pool back.
Hello, my name is Sonia Poitress, 190 Aqueduct Road, Cranston. I wrote to the Cranston Historical Society and to the Rhode Island Historic Preservation and Heritage Commission a letter about this very reason, so I'm really excited to see that it's been deemed a historical landmark. And I love that the community, it's very inspiring to see everybody here. So, and I saw the plans, and I'm actually getting really inspired because I saw that, I heard the 4 things you said you would do to help preserve that, and the cobblestone to keep a part of that cobblestone. Like we are part of the solution together, and I really do see that, so I appreciate that. The thing, you're asking for suggestions, so what stands out to me is the size. You've heard it enough times. If I have 2 teens now, so they see that pool, they're not going in it because it's gonna be a third of the size. You don't, think about when you go to a hotel and you see that pool packed. You don't wanna go in it because there's too many people. You're gonna go in a pool that has some room, but then you can mingle and you can meet other people, and it actually, I live right there, it's often at max capacity. So I just don't see how a pool a third of the size would accommodate any of that. So that's probably the biggest thing. A facelift, sure, absolutely handicap accessible, you know, all the things that we need, but preserve the size. And I saw the grass part that's taking up like probably a 1/5 of the back end that's being proposed. I would say just, that's a great idea, but just move it to the grass area that actually already exists right behind the pool and just have it there. So I think we can come to a mutual agreement on this. I love that a facelift, but definitely preserve those historical features. The cobblestone, the size, the depth for sure. Kids don't want to jump in a 4-foot pool, nobody does. Like, unless you're little or you're old, but you need the people in the middle. So that's who we're trying to serve. And just think about the challenge that they face with all the social media and the internet, and they're sucked into this thing that we, a little older, never really had to deal with. But a place like that, that's so rare to find these days, like they can go there and actually get away from all that stuff, but they're not gonna go if it looks the way it does here. It's just gonna be packed with little ones, and it's not, teens won't consider that. So, I think that was it. And please, yes, honor the WPA, that's such a big deal. And I think they had it right. They had it right when they proposed the size of this pool. They had it right for a reason, and you're hearing all of that. So, yeah, just the size is the biggest thing. Thank you so much. And one last thing, an independent study, please, because from what I'm hearing, this was a bit biased, because I heard that it could be preserved for not that much, and then it's like a huge amount that it can't be and needs to be replaced. So I really, really advocate for an independent study on the feasibility of restoring it. And if you can't restore it, okay, we trust the experts, but keep it big. Keep it rectangular, keep it big. Yes. Thank you.
Fung, 1581 Phoenix Avenue. You know, I sat back and listened to a lot of the testimony that was here today, and I want to, expound on a couple of things. First, the fact that this was a WPA project. And when FDR put in that WPA project, they had specific goals in mind to serve those that were underserved, and the workforce that they put into place were those that were employed or not employed during the Great Depression. Those dollars manifested here in Cranston, Rhode Island, in what then was the largest historic outdoor pool in our country's history. That fact needs to be preserved to this day. Because one of the things that's critically important is generations of kids that look like me. In fact, me, on those days, because my parents' restaurant was right down the street, right on Cranston Street. And yes, Tony Libitore, who's back there, knows. I might have snuck in even though I was a Providence resident with the red tag. But the bottom line is, I was one of those kids that didn't look like many of the people that are here that was served and made sure that all of us had that opportunity to go into that pool, have a source of recreation when we didn't have it in the hard paths of South Providence or even many of the things in the eastern side of the city, which to this day doesn't have those resources. That's an important context because Cranston is changing. Take a look at the face of Cranston now. My parents had that restaurant, Gladstone, Arlington, many of the schools were not Title I schools. The kids that they are serving today need those resources ever more. Their kids and their hopefully future kids will have an opportunity to enjoy a pool of that size. It's critically important that we take into consideration that historical context as you're putting things forward, not just squaring it down to a third of its size to serve. Granted, it's a great population with the kids, but take a look at many of the other families together that still enjoy that. And that is what's critically important. And I want to correct, I'm not sure if she's still Miss Jefferson. The reason that it closed during that last year of my administration was because of COVID, because we could not comply with those restrictions that came from the state. It wasn't because I'm damn proud, excuse my language, of that gentleman that's wearing the hat there because he made sure every single year, Mr. Libitore, my Parks and Rec director, made sure that pool was open for our players. And even when it wasn't open, we all know you have to keep it maintained and run and at least filled with some water. Correct, Tony? Correct. And that's what this administration has failed to do. Let's not repeat many of the failed mistakes from the past several years. Listen to the residents, because this meeting should have happened before the plans were put into place. We know what happens when those plans of what someone wants because of their ego are put and you try to drive a solution to meet a goal. That's not what serves the people of Cranston, and I stand with everyone. My wife does, all of you, and what you said today, for the historic reasons, but most importantly, for the next generation of Cranston families that can enjoy this pool. Thank you.
Tony Libitore, 18 Bank Street. I have to ask a question because I'm a little confused. What is the actual purpose of this meeting? Why was this meeting called?
Excuse me, this meeting is to get suggestions from the public on how to memorialize the historic nature of the Budlong Pool facility. That's the purpose. That's it.
Thank you. Budlong Pool. I lived and breathed Budlong Pool for 14 years. Every single day, 7 days a week. I had a great crew. Without them, it would go down the toilet. I was there 6 to 7 hours a day, in and out, making sure that that water was clear, chemicals were right, and all safety standards were in place. That being said, with this new pool coming in, and being 8,000 square feet smaller, which means less capacity. Regardless of what you've read in the newspapers, people that have been quoted, that capacity is only 300 people on the apron and in the pool. That is not set by the city of Cranston. That is set by the state. Going by square footage, 300 people is capacity. My question is, if this is going to be 8,000 square feet smaller,
16,000
feet smaller.
It's
only going to be a total of 8,000 square feet. 1/3 the size.
1/3 the size. Let's do 1/3 of 300 people.
Sounds like 100 people. Sounds like 100 people.
So, 300 people down to 100 people. The question is it going to be for Cranston residents only? Because if Providence, Pawtucket, Coventry, Warren come like they used to, does that leave Cranston people on the outside because there's 50 Providence people in the pool? It's a question that's got to be considered. We had an issue, I don't know, man, when did they call me an old man? What year was it?
I remember.
Wasn't by me.
Wasn't by you. That it came to the point where everything was out of control, there were fights. We had to contain it to Cranston residents only, and I think that's going to have to be considered if this goes through. Thank you very much.
Cheryl Padre at 100 Betsy Williams Drive. So I think the summary from this, everybody speaking, is that the best way to memorialize Budlong Pool is to keep the footprint of Budlong Pool. Our residents have been going to all the meetings, I actually left my kitchen with the chicken out and raw. So it's inconvenient for us to be here. I'm going to be eating at 8 o'clock tonight. But we're all here. People are coming. People care about this. When I look at the current blueprint, it makes me sad. It's like a slap in the face. It's an insult. Like, I don't know, that's the emotion that comes up for me. It's a fraction of what it was. The other part of it, I think the mayor said something about, oh dang, I forgot. Serving. This current plan does not serve the Cranston residents. They won't be able to fit in the pool. There's 6 swimming lanes, and so that's 6 people who can swim. And then the other half of it, I don't know, maybe 30 more people, but it's not serving. And Mayor Hopkins has not heard us. He's not listening to us, let me restate that. Right. He's not listening to us. He is not listening to the residents who are saying that his plan is not what we want. And the other aspect, which I mentioned at another meeting, is that it's not just families. The kids, my kids have gone to the Park and Rec camp every summer, and their favorite day was when they would go to the pool. All of the camps around go to the pool. They utilize it. That's where kids should be in the summer. They should be there. They shouldn't be on a turf in a playground at 100 degrees with 70% humidity. They should be in the pool. So the best way to memorialize Budlong Pool is to keep it.
Robert Ferri, 2426 Cranston Street, Cranston, Rhode Island. For those of you that don't know me, I am a citywide council person. I am speaking as a citywide council person right now. And I think I'm representing the entire council by saying this. We passed a resolution unanimously that the pool was to be at least 12,000 square feet and rectangular in shape if you were going to use the $4 million that we gave the city. So I just want to remind everybody that the entire council feels the same way you do. Every one of us. It needed to be rectangular in shape, and it needed to be at least 12,000 square feet. But we don't see that happening. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Nick Lowens, 75 Hollow Tree Drive. A little scary following Mayor Fung and Tony Libitore. I worked at Budlong Pool for 10 years. I was everything from, I started as a lifeguard, and then Tony made me head of maintenance because we had maintenance issues. And then I was lifeguard, again, head lifeguard, and then co-director for 2 years as well. The work that Tony put in for the pool, he put in a new filtration system and a new chlorine feeding system, and it's honestly not that old. We probably put that in probably 12 years ago or so. So I think, especially with the funding, I think it might actually not be as expensive as you guys might think to get the pool up and running again. As far as the building structure, the structure of the building is great. I mean, it literally can take a bomb. Pipes, electricity, everything else would definitely need to be worked out. But I don't think it's like this huge overbearing thing where we should knock down and demolish and everything like that. I think you'd spend more money doing that, you know, and paying different contractors and stuff like that. I don't exactly know how it works, but the memories I have of Budlong Pool going as a kid, working with Tony, letting in Mr. Fung, 3 summers I let you in, jumped in with his suit on and everything. I mean, those are memories you literally can't get and you'll never get back. And I just had a kid myself. I would love to him to be a lifeguard one day there. And yeah, hopefully we can keep it. Thank you guys so much.
Can you hear me? Yes. Hi, good evening. My name is Lisa Kischenbaum. I was not planning on speaking, but after hearing this, and this has been going on for so long, and it's been kind of like an emotional thing for me.
Can you state your address, please?
sorry, it's 81 Pasture View Lane.
Thank you.
Sure. So my goal is really not to be contentious at all. That's really not my style. That's not who I am. I'm a very community-oriented person. I think what I've noticed is just a lot of the residents are feeling that they are not being validated, that they say the same thing over and over again, but no one's saying, I haven't heard once, like, you're right, that's a great idea, we hear you. Nothing that they're sharing is really being heard. And I think that's a feeling of rejection, and that doesn't bring community together. There is an earnest need here. People are looking, there's so much division in the world right now. We know that, we see it. People are looking for a sense of community. I think asking for a large pool to accommodate the second largest city in Rhode Island, I don't think it's worth these arguments. It's so sad to me that this is happening. It brings out a lot of negative emotions. We need positive. We live in Cranston, it's a wonderful city. Like, let's bring that back by doing good things together. The other thing is I just wanted to share some data that I've had for about 3 years, I think, that speaks to the other side of Cranston. I live on the western side. I'm privileged. I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm privileged. If I wanna go to the pool, I have somewhere to go. My kids can cool off when they were little. We have means, okay? I get that, I'm being completely honest. The landscape of Cranston is completely changing. I know by data that the minority population does not have the same access to these kinds of resources in a community as a white privileged
residents. So we really are not looking at our changing landscape in Cranston. So I'm going to give you this data. Between the years of 2010 and 2020, the white population decreased by 14.19%, while the African American population increased by 10.18%, the Asian population increased by 39.53%, and the Hispanic population increased by 73%. Like, that's just the facts. So I think the administration has a responsibility to look at all of Cranston and not one segment or one population or one age group, the totality of Cranston. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else that would like to speak?
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Arrington. I live at 35 Palmer Ave. I've lived in Cranston for about 1.5 years now. My husband and I moved here. And I grew up in Boston. And where I learned to swim was a public pool that looks just like the Budlong Pool. And I was so excited when we were driving around and checking out the neighborhood. I live really close, probably 3-minute walk from the pool. And I was so excited just as I planned to have my own family, to have this space where I myself as someone who loves to swim, who trained to be a lifeguard, who swam on a swim team, the idea that you would take a pool that size and make it tiny doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, there are so many reasons. I think preservation-wise, just also deeply gorgeous building. I really hope that, that we can move forward into actually having a pool that makes sense for this entire community. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Susannah Yim, and I was born in, I'm a daughter of Cambodian refugees, born and raised Rhode Island, in Cranston my whole entire life. Susannah. Oh, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, great. So yes, I'm proud to say I'm a daughter of Cambodian refugees and was born and raised in Cranston. Went through from Gladstone to Bain to Cranston East, and every single summer we spent, my cousins and I, my many cousins and I would spend our summers at Budlong Pool. And it was something that was really precious to us because pools, we're not working class, pools was not a privilege that we had. But Budlong Pool was a privilege that we had. And I am turning 30 years old this year. And it breaks my heart to hear that a pool that was so essential to so many communities in Rhode Island, in Cranston, Rhode Island, and for that to be downsized, yeah, for that to be taken away from families is something that breaks my heart, and something that should be preserved, and something that should be provided, because we can't provide that. We do have the resources. And everyone here showed up today because they care about preserving this pool. And so I hope that we can continue this fight, and I hope that community members' voices are continuing to be honored. So thank you.
Need your address, please.
21 June Avenue.
What was that?
21 June Avenue.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, my name is Dr. Terrie Mailhot. I grew up in Cranston, Rhode Island, and I've spent about 50 of my 72 years in this city. Currently, my 2 children and 4 of my grandchildren and a step-granddaughter all live within the city. I've been very disappointed that the Cranston Pool has been unavailable to all of them through many seasons, because I spent every summer walking from Essex Street here to the pool area with my brothers in tow behind me. We all learned to swim there. We all enjoyed many days. And I'm very saddened because it seems as if the agenda of moving forward with the design and plan for a different layout of this historic, nostalgic community center, which it appears that most people here are in favor of restoring and not destroying.
That's right.
Is sort of you're being gratuitous and sitting there listening while not offering any further information about why is the city going in this direction. I think some of the things that have been unsaid are intuitively obvious to me. We're talking about liability, we're talking about inclusivity, we're talking about accessibility, and all of that costs money, and there are codes and restrictions and ordinances that must be followed, and you're not mentioning any of that to the people of why the city would choose to go in this direction instead of the restoration of the existing footprint of the Budlong Pool. I had the opportunity to speak with my brother, Tom Moses, who's an attorney, well-respected and known to lots in the community, including here in Cranston, because he's represented places like Carpianato Properties, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And about a year and a half ago, being distraught over being restricted because of COVID. My profession is, I'm a child and adolescent and adult psychiatrist. And I thought the ability of people to get out in the community and engage with one another was once again restricted here in Cranston because we didn't have a pool. And I spoke with him about it, and he said, well, I'm going to give Shelley a call this week. And I'm meeting with Ken this week, and I'll speak to him. And he left for me to talk to Jack Reed. I wasn't going to pick up the phone and call Senator Reed, but instead I sat down at Panera on Sakanasset and decided I was writing him a letter. And while sitting there, a gentleman sitting next to me on his laptop doing some work, I'm penning, to the Honorable Senator Jack Reed. My name is Terrie Mailhot. I grew up in the city of Cranston, and on and on. And I look up and I see a dude walk in and he sits down, and then a guy walking in a suit, and I pegged him for a Fed. And shortly thereafter,
30 seconds.
Shortly thereafter, the senator walked in, and the tall dude who looked like a Fed was his Rhode Island connection. So I got up and spoke with him, shook his hand, and introduced him to who I was and why I was writing him a letter. And he reminded me that he too grew up on Blaisdell Street, a couple streets over from mine, in Cranston, and learned to swim in the pool here in Budlong. And he said that the government had $43 million that was sent in our direction here in Rhode Island, that some of it was meant to be spent. I'd like to know what happened to all of that. I'd like to know. Thank you.
One last thing. Cheryl Del Padre, 100 Betsy Williams Drive, if you need that information. I just wanted to point out what my new neighbor said, and I'm sorry I don't get people's names, but the most important thing, I think, and why we keep on coming to these meetings is that it doesn't make sense. If there was a plan that made sense, then we might be behind it. But it doesn't make sense, and we don't understand it. And nothing that has come forward to us helps us to understand it. So thank you for bringing that up. But I think we're asking for things to make sense. Thanks.
Anyone else that wants to speak? Name on the record, Mr. Moretti, please.
Sure. Hi, my name's Anthony Moretti. So for title purposes, I'm Chief of Staff in the City of Cranston. I can be found at 869 Park Avenue. Thank you, Director, for sponsoring this meeting for the public input. I know it's taken extremely seriously. And a couple of items to note in particular. Funding for the pool. The City Council allocated $4 million using ARPA funds that were given to the city. So that's part of the money that the federal government had provided for ARPA. And secondly, Senator Reid, working with Senator Reid, the mayor was able to obtain a $750,000 grant from Congress to add to the pot to be able to construct the pool, totaling, if I recall, $4,750,000. Some questions have come up tonight, valid questions about the design of the pool itself. It was not the mayor, but it was the professional aquatic engineer that came forward who's designed pools throughout the country, you could probably say throughout the world, in terms of what the designs are that are the safest designs, the ones that are the most inclusive designs, particularly for families, and safety of their children, and be able to participate with the kids. And that's why you might see some inlets in the pool area, so the parents can accompany the children also. So for family enjoyment. Certainly all the ADA requirements are there, et cetera, et cetera. The pool house is going to be minimally affected, just enough to keep it within building code in order to accommodate the capacity that's there. In terms of the pool size itself, I think it's been said before, but I think it's important to know, because I think some people may have not been informed, but the mayor's directive to the architect and engineers were build the biggest pool possible with the money that the mayor's been allocated. So the mayor has $4,750,000. The bids came out actually slightly over that for that allocation that the city council gave to the mayor to use. Any increase in pool size would have to come from the city council because they only provide that amount of money. So the mayor's directive was to build a maximum capacity and size pool for $4.75 million. So we're given that.
Can I just ask one quick question?
Can I?
Just one?
Alice, you can't.
So I just want to point that out, that if there was more money there, the mayor's directive was build the biggest pool possible for the money that he was given. He doesn't control the funds, he executes the funds. Thank you all for your attention.
Because you're saying it's inclusive, but dozens of residents.
Thank you. If you'd like to speak to Mr. Moretti, I'm sure he's available.
That's okay, I don't think I need to speak with him, but thank you.
Hi, folks. Good evening, everybody. Listen, I don't know if you
I'm sorry.
noticed.
Can I have your name?
Oh, my
Your
name
address,
is Pat Krajewski, Krajewski, and I live at 376 Pontiac Avenue.
Thank you.
Okay, now, gentlemen, fellow citizens, I don't know if you discovered this or not, but for the last 4 years, nobody is listening to us. Maybe we could get some direct answers and some correct information at last before that it goes under with the bulldozer. Because basically, we want the pool the way it is. So find the money and fix it. I can see tax raises for expenses in offices and everything else for new schools, but the one thing you do need is that pool for everybody. You have high schools that spend their summers at that pool. What are you going to do with all these teenagers? I was one of those teenagers. I had 6 brothers. My fellow David had 12 children. There was 8 brothers in there, and they spent their lifetime at that pool. I think it should be continued for families, if not for nothing else. I thank you.
Thank you. You have about 2 minutes.
I was going to say, if I did not use up all my time, something I failed to mention, I apologize. Looking at the existing pool, the same size, I believe the quotes came, or the estimates to build that, to reconstruct the pool the same size, was, I believe, is either $9 or $12 million. I forgot the number, but it approximately $90 million. I might be wrong, $10 million. Part of it, I didn't give anyone a hard time here.
Please let Mr. Moretti speak. We let everyone here speak. Please. Thank you.
Anyone from the public is invited to look at the estimates that were provided by the aquatic engineer. The books are open. Anyone's welcome to see them. We had it open, in fact. If you might recall the meeting, I believe it was September 6th, 2023. That was presented. And again, more than welcome to take a look at any of these numbers. There's nothing being hidden, but to restore the pool in the same size, plus at least $9 million, may have been 12, I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but I can guarantee you it was at least $9 million. Thank you all.
Go to cranstonforward.org.
Mr. Moretti.
Good evening. Is this?
Yeah, if you guys gotta speak, it's a little weak.
Good evening. Dana Holmgren, 161 Ferncrest Avenue. I apologize for coming late. I know there have been things said that I agree with and things said that I disagree with. One of the first notes I want to make is that the letter that's being distributed by the city at the entrance to this meeting is 5 months old, and huge amounts of information have been uncovered since then. Additional letters have been sent by the Historical Commission, and I'm just quite curious as to why this particular one was chosen. So it leads me to think that the process has been lacking not only in transparency, but also in rationality. My biggest concern is that there's been no objective evaluation of the state of the current pool. I don't understand how a city can consider undertaking a major process such as this without looking for an objective assessment or evaluation. And this leads many, including a woman I chatted with briefly yesterday, to say it's all about the money. So I don't know where the money is, I don't know what the money is, but it leads a lot of people to have a severe lack of confidence in the process, and I hope this can be rectified through this meeting.
Anyone else wish to be heard?
Good evening. My name is Dr. Katherine Saragosa, and I live at 1331 Hope Road in Cranston. I'm a data person, so kudos to Lisa. She did incredible data on ethnicity, which is really important, so I'm so proud of her. But I just want to say, as a data person, and I'm listening to all of the people that showed up today, 100% answered your question. We don't want the new vision of Cranston Public School, the Cranston Budlong Pool, to be a bright and shiny golf club oriented look. 100% of these people said that. You said the intent of the meeting was to come here and find out what the residents want. It's very clear. The residents want the pool to be restored to its historic nature. The residents want a large pool that will accommodate all of the various age groups that can come into it. The bathhouse clearly needs renovation. But as someone who owns a historic property in this district, my house was built in 1858. We bought my house from the school department. It was a school that we converted into a residence. I can tell you that other residents that come into my house and look at my house, it's always a look of astonishment that they're so thankful that they have that, and we should be doing the same thing for Budlong Pool.
Reclaiming my time, I love Katie Ford order. Okay. Mr. Moretti said that the city only has $4.75 million to restore the pool. That the minimum would be $9 million. I propose a bond issue be put on the ballot. It's an election year.
Yes, it is.
Yes, if you haven't heard.
It is.
You know, obviously, I think, I'm sorry, I forgot who said it best, but the way to preserve the pool's historic nature is to leave it big. To leave it almost rectangular, maybe a little corner clipping, but rectangular, big, deep, and of various depths. And let the people of Cranston decide, you know, what do you want? And yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it. But, you know, what else, you know, we all have to pay for everything. And personally, like I said before, I don't want a pool. I don't have room for it. I don't want the expense. I don't want the headache. I would rather have Anthony Libitore. I'd rather have him do it.
Sorry, I don't answer to Anthony.
Sorry, Tony. I'd rather have you do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, if that's everyone that wanted to participate, I just want to say thank you. That totals 33 people today that spoke about the pool. In my opinion, that is community in a nutshell right there. So truly, I thank you all for coming out and stating your piece. I have documented everything. The follow-up steps for this would be to send your suggestions over to the state and finish out this process with the historical preservation. So thank you all for coming out.
Could you identify yourself again for the people that came in late, please?
Yep, my name is Justin Matus. I'm the city engineer and acting public works director.
Mr. Davis, Christopher Millay, solicitor for the city.
And Mark Secosio, Secosio Associates Architects.
Sorry?
Mark Secosio, Secosio Associates Architects.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.